The story begins with a dreamlike sequence where Loak and Neteyam are flying through Pandora on their banshees. However, upon landing, they realize it was just a vision. Neteyam asks his brother, "How did I die?" Loak painfully reminds him that he was shot while they were trying to rescue Spider. Neteyam comforts him, saying they did the right thing and that Loak should let go of the guilt. In reality, Loak was experiencing this through a connection with the spirit tree, still burdened by the belief that he was responsible for his brother's death. Spider watches from a distance, wishing he too could connect with the tree to speak with his family, but Kiri warns him of the dangers, recalling how she once lost consciousness during a connection. Meanwhile, Sully is focused on the survival of his family. He recovers human weapons from the ocean floor, knowing that the Sky People could attack at any moment. This doesn't sit well with the Metkayina leaders, Ronal and Tonawari. Tonawari reminds Jake that this isn't the way of water and suggests he use the Torok Makto to fight. However, Jake has vowed never to ride the Torok again, stating that his only priority now is protecting his family. Unknown to them, Captain Sam has survived his previous encounter, though he lost an arm, and General Ardmore is still pushing Miles Quaritch to eliminate Jake. Quaritch asks for one last chance, arguing that the Na'vi are skilled warriors and harder to kill than they look. Amidst these tensions, the story introduces a mysterious fire colony and air colony, expanding the world of Pandora even further. Back at the reef, Neytiri remains deep in grief, often clashing with Ronal. Jake tries to console her, explaining that the Metkayina don't yet understand their struggle. Meanwhile, Spider faces a life-threatening moment when his oxygen mask fails, a recurring issue that highlights his vulnerability as a human on Pandora. Because of the shortage of masks, Jake makes the heart-wrenching decision to send Spider back to the forest with a traveling air colony, a group of Na'vi who live in the sky on floating parachutes. The children, especially Kiri, are furious, blaming Neytiri's dislike for humans for this decision. However, Jake insists it's for Spider's safety. As the Sully family begins the long journey to escort Spider back, they are intercepted by the Fire Colony, a ruthless group led by Varang who sought to loot the air colony. A chaotic battle erupts as the Fire Colony uses fire-based weapons to destroy the parachutes. Jake and Neytiri fight back with human firearms and arrows, but they are overwhelmed. During the chaos, Spider and Loak attempt to recover Spider's oxygen mask from a burning wreckage. They witness the brutality of the Fire Colony as Varang tortures the Air Na'vi through a forced neural connection. Loak manages to save the children by using his rifle, but the Fire Colony leader is impressed by the power of the human weapons and begins hunting the children to claim them. While fleeing the Fire Colony, Spider's mask runs out of oxygen and he collapses. In a moment of desperation, Kiri experiences a mystical connection with a spirit leaf of Eywa. Driven by an unknown power, she performs a miracle, using her neural cue to bridge Spider's human physiology with Eywa's energy. For 30 minutes, the forest glows with intense light as the connection deepens. When Spider wakes up, he realizes he can now breathe Pandora's air without a mask, a transformation that stuns everyone. However, their relief is short-lived as Varang captures them. When she sees Spider breathing naturally, she threatens to kill him to test if Eywa can resurrect him. Jake and Miles Quaritch, who has teamed up with Jake temporarily to save his son, launch a rescue mission. A standoff occurs, but Varang attempts to mentally break Quaritch using a neural connection. To her surprise, Quaritch's mental strength is too great, and he breaks free. Impressed by his resilience and his weapons, Varang asks Quaritch to teach her how to use human firearms. This unholy alliance between the vengeful colonel and the ruthless fire leader creates a new, terrifying threat. Meanwhile, back with the Sully family, Neytiri reveals the truth about Kiri's birth, that she was born from Dr. Grace's avatar through the grace of Eywa alone, making her a child of Pandora. The climax builds as Captain Sam and the RDA launch a massive hunt for the sacred Tulkins near the Metcaina Reef. Jake tries to warn the Tulkins, but they remain committed to their pacifist ways. However, Payakan and Loak refuse to stand by. A massive war breaks out involving the Metcaina, the Omaticaya, and the RDA. The fire colony joins the fray, turning the tide against the Na'vi. During the battle, Ronal is tragically killed while giving birth to her child, whom she names Priel. Overcome with rage, Neytiri takes charge of the baby while Jake prepares for a final confrontation with Quaritch. Under the ocean, Kiri calls upon Eywa for help. In response, a swarm of glowing bioluminescent sea creatures attacks the RDA fleet, tearing ships apart. The battle moves to the floating mountains where Jake and Quaritch engage in a brutal duel. As the ship they are on explodes, Spider falls toward a fiery abyss. In a rare moment of humanity, both Jake and Quaritch leap to save him. Jake eventually pulls them both to safety. Realizing the cycle of violence must end, Quaritch chooses to exile himself, leaping into the fire as a form of penance, though his ultimate fate remains unknown. The film ends on a poignant note as the family buries their dead in the spirit water. Spider finally connects with the spirit tree, seeing the souls of all who came before him. Jake and his family are officially welcomed as permanent members of the Metcaina, finally finding peace in the way of water.